between SSI and SSI.
Did you have another?
I've got a sheet upstairs, yeah. I'll have to
Okay.
grab that and.
Okay, so
we
this
can
one
look at
kind
that.
of-
But I think you could use it for a down payment.
Could you?
The only
One more
concern
time.
that you have when you do that is that, and it may or may not be a concern, it's just something to understand. Own a house, obviously you have to have some source of income to be able to maintain it and all of that. So, although you could get a down payment together and you may be able to make the monthly mortgage, and the question is, can you pay for everything else? Not for us to determine, but obviously for you to think through.
Could you repeat what you just said about, if I wanted to use my trust to pay for rent and then use the rest for?
Well, what I'm trying to say there is that the whole idea behind a trust, of course, is to protect those assets so you don't lose access to public benefits. Otherwise, they'd count against you, and you wouldn't be able to be on MA and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're on MA or going to apply for MA or
Insurance?
medical assistance.
Yes, I'm on that.
You're on medical
Mhm.
assistance, okay. Because that's the real reason.
That's my big one.
That's your big one, yeah, because you're not going to lose SSDI because of this trust money. You lose your medical assistance because of the trust money, or because you didn't put the money in the trust. What a lot of people deal with, obviously, is cash flow each month. I mean, you get X amount of money from SSDI, but no one's getting rich on $14.50 a month, right? So you got bills like utilities, cell phone, cable TV, whatever, that kind of stuff. The trust can actually pay for those items every month. It doesn't have to, it's just able to. That then frees up that cash flow that you're now taking that $14.50 and spreading it by paying utilities and paying this and paying that. Frees up that cash flow for food and other living expenses that you have. So it's a way of using the trust because if you spend all of that $14.50, so much of it gets sucked up to these other expenses. Because one thing that's important about the trust is that we can't ever issue you cash, right? So you could see cash becomes valuable at that point because you can't get cash out of the trust, but you can get cash out of your $14.50. So why not use the trust to pay those recurring kinds of things every month, every quarter, whatever it is, car insurance.
So are the limits, restrictions, are they different than what I printed out then for SSDI?
No, not particularly. Well, the big ones with SSDI are going to be the housing issue, and I'll bring that down here in a minute. We'll grab that. Yeah, but
and
other
how about
than that,
transportation? Can you buy a car with
yeah,
it?
doesn't have any impact on that. You can buy a car. You're entitled. They don't count a car as an asset. So you could have a car, you could pay for car insurance, you could pay for fuel, you can go on a vacation. All of those things the trust can be used to pay for.
So fuel, like you would buy a gas card then or something?
Yeah, I mean, you could have a credit card, charge the gas, and turn in the receipts
So that
to
was
us.
one of my questions. Can I get a Visa card?
You can't get a
that
debit card.
Okay.
Because we can't pay off a debit card because
Okay.
that would violate the statute for cash. Because debit can be turned into money. And go to the machine and withdraw.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me how she can use as a credit card.
So you could get a credit card. I mean, assuming you can get a credit card, you can get your credit card. You would charge your gas, let's say.
Okay.
You would then turn that receipt into us, and we would reimburse you.
Okay.
Reimburse her, or would you pay the credit card, or you would?
We can. I'm just trying to think. We could do it both ways. We could either pay the credit card directly, or we can reimburse. The key, though, is that we have to be able to tie. Again, it's all the statute and the law. We have to be able to make sure that we tie that expense for the sole benefit of Tiffany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So a car, if she wants to buy a car for her son or her kids, or do anything for the kids, she can't do that. It needs to be just for her.
Right. Sole benefits, I mean, there's really two big kinds of rules, if you will, that we have to follow in the implementation of this in the statute. One is we can never issue cash.
Okay.
Second one is it's got to be it's called the sole beneficiary provision, which means that the beneficiary is the only one who can receive benefits from the trust. Now, that being said, if you're not on SNAP, for example, if you're on SNAP, I don't know if you're on
No.
SNAP, no. If you're
Do you
on-
know about SNAP? Or?
Food stamps, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's supplemental nutrition,
Okay.
but most people call food stamps these days.
Okay.
Or used to call food stamps more, but anyway, SNAP. If you're on SNAP, you can't use the trust to buy food.
Right.
But if you're not on SNAP, you can. Well, your kids are going to eat food.
Yeah.
So in that sense, they're a beneficiary.
Then I
But,
have a question, like,
so it's,
like, let's say we wanna take a trip, can I buy plane tickets for them, or no?
you cannot. You can buy a plane ticket for yourself.
Okay.
Mhm.
And but staying in a hotel, in the hotel room, obviously she would be in there and they would just be with her, so we could pay the hotel room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what we're trying to do is not necessarily drive the fine line, but the fact is when you rent a hotel and you've got 2-3 children with you, they're staying there. I mean, we're going to make them sleep outside.
Okay, so
Right.
what
Yeah.
about like, a pool pass that would include all four of us?
Just use your your other money for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of having to jump through hoops for that.
Yeah, I mean the other thing I would do is charge it, get a receipt, turn it in, and keep moving.
Okay.
I mean, no one's trying to, the sole benefit thing is important, but you also have to be, we have to be practical and realistic.
Right.
So obviously we want to be both within the law and within the spirit of the law, but we
Okay.
also don't want to trip over, every stone that
The
comes
small
up.
things,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's
So,
just a matter of you try to do the right thing all the time is the key.
I have a question about, gift cards.
Mhm.
If I get a gift card from Walmart, can I buy clothes, gardening stuff, a fan? And is that okay, or does it just have to be clothes and,
Mm-mm. No, we'd issue you a gift card. Well, first of all, if you had a credit card, you could go to Walmart.
so the
Wherever you
credit
want.
card's the best thing to do?
I think I guess I would say that it is because you're not. It's the best way to keep your fees the lowest with us. For example, if every time you send us a receipt and we've got to reimburse,
Mhm.
we got time. When there's time, there's money because there's people involved.
Mhm.
So it's much better if you can consolidate your purchases, and we're issuing a check rather than multiple checks. and
Can you do it
multiple
like
arrangements.
monthly then? It's like if she does all her purchases in a month?
Well, it has to do more with where the money's going, because it's not just our effort, but we got to cut a check to how many people, say.
But that's what I say, if it's
Right.
her credit card,
It's going to
do
the
they
Walmart.
normally turn in all the receipts monthly to you, or do you have to get them bit by bit each time she
No,
goes?
no, you could, as long as we have the receipts by the time, also the statements there, the combination, and boom, we can.
So
pay it
with each
that way.
statement?
So you just
so-
want to be, you want to be efficient with how you process your paperwork for the trust to be able to pay it and keep your cost as low as possible. When I say a credit card, if you have a credit card, and as long as you're buying things that you know to be okay, and if you don't know, you just pick up the phone and call us and say, I want to buy a lawnmower, can I buy that with my trust or not?
Okay,
Because that's another thing that is important. You don't have to call us over everything, but as a trustee, we have a fiduciary responsibility to you, to the law, and to the money. It's always your money, but we have to live within the statute.
right.
So if there's ever a question like, I don't know whether I can really buy this with the trust or not, you want to call us.
Okay. Well, I
And you
think-
never go wrong that way.
And in calling you, does that incur a cost each time she calls them?
No, if
Okay,
she
good.
just calls up, there's 3 people upstairs, caseworkers, social workers, and if you call them up and say,
Okay, I
this is
thought every
Tiffany.
time I would be charged for a phone call, so
Yeah,
that's
that's
good.
what it kind of,
Yeah, and
So-
not for a basic kind of question like that. I
Okay,
mean, if
good.
we're hanging on the phone and buying furniture at Slumberland for an hour, yeah.
Okay, so the
But if
best
you just
thing
give
to
us a
do-
call and say, hey, I want to buy a lawnmower, is that cool?
well,
Sure.
it's because it right here, it's a received phone call, inquire with beneficiary. It's
Yeah.
0.2 and it's $17, so that's not really. Okay.
Well, it's there. I don't want to say because it's there in part because we have some people who want to call us and hang on the phone all day.
Okay,
This
so
helps
quick
deter them a
calls.
little bit.
Okay,
So I would, so to sum like what I think that you're saying to me is, that what I would want to do is to have my trust pay my rent and then use my $14.50 for spending money.
Well, I want to confirm that rent question.
Okay.
When I head upstairs, I just want to confirm that to make sure that I'm on solid ground there. There's two things to remember. I'm an outreach representative. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an attorney. I don't work for the Department of Human Services. None of that. So it doesn't mean I don't know anything, but it also means that I'm not in the business of giving tax or legal advice. Now, that being said, we have a lot of experience upstairs, and generally we run into everything you're going to run into. So I just want to be sure. I never tell you something that I'm not absolutely certain of.
Do you want to
Because we're talking about benefits here, not,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you want to go get it
Not
right
lunch.
now before we?
It's okay.
Just
I mean,
okay.
I'm pretty confident that that's the way we want to handle it, unless there's something I don't know about your benefits, and we'll find that out here in a
Did
minute.
you get the answer that you wanted about the putting a down payment on the house?
No,
That's
he's
the
gonna
other
look
one
that
we're
up.
gonna check
That's
on,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
But let's just go back to this for a minute, because if you had a credit card and you went to Walmart or Target or wherever, and you're buying things that you can buy with the trust, you know, clothing, a chair, whatever, and you turn in the receipt, and then we're just gonna cut a check either to you or to that credit card, right? So that's efficient. If instead you called us and you got a gift card, say a Visa gift card, and you can go anywhere with it, that's great, because you can go anywhere with it, but it costs you money for us to do the gift card and then send it to you, and you still gotta save the receipts. So in that sense, it's more costly to use gift cards than if you had a credit card.
Good to know.
What kind of credit card do you suggest?
One that you can get, I guess. Yeah, I don't know that we have a recommendation. I
Okay.
mean, something that's accepted widely, I suppose.
I can help you with
Visa,
that.
MasterCard, yeah, are typical, widely used, but
There's
yeah.
some that have better points.
But
too,
yeah,
better
there's
cashback, so.
a lot of differences in them depending on what your credit is and all of that.
Right.
But, yeah, and you can check online. There's all kinds of deals.
Sure.
I guess I don't have to raise my hand.
Yeah.
Is there, if I do get a gift card, is there a certain amount of time that it needs to be spent in?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's anything associated. In fact, I think that's now illegal in Minnesota to have gift cards that expire. I think they made
Yeah,
that illegal.
they did.
It used to be, you're right, that was a great way for companies to make a lot
Yeah,
of money that
they
way.
expire after, or they start going down and.
Yeah, in value,
Yeah,
yeah, I
in
think
value.
the legislature said, no, that's not gonna happen.
And is it true that once I sign up for LLS, I can't change? I have to keep my monies?
You have to keep your monies in trust, you don't have to keep them with LSS.
Okay.
But you can't just say, you can't sign up for the trust, move the money into it, and a week later go, oh, that was a bad idea. Yeah, and that's not our rule, that's the state law, that this is what's called an irrevocable trust. So once it's there, because you can imagine people might play some games with it, and that's what they're trying to avoid. It's kind of like putting money in a 401k or an IRA, and then people used to do this, they had 30 days to swing it to another account. They'd take the money out, they'd invest it for 30 days, make some money on it, and then put it into another retirement account. They
Okay.
put an end to that, yeah.
And plus it costs $1,000 to set this up, right?
Yeah, it's a one-time fee.
So you don't
One-time
wanna
Right.
run around paying that.
What is the annual growth, maybe like throughout the year, that I can expect on like a 60,000?
On the money?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you an idea what that might look like. And obviously, it's going to vary. This is as of September 30th. I might have more recent upstairs, but so basically, what this looks at is this is the pool trust right here, and this looks at the total fund and what it's been over the last 5 years. 1 year, you could see here, it lost 5% at one point. 3 years it gained 3.85, 5 years it gained 5.03, and since inception it was at 4.76.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
not stellar performance, but when you consider that the portfolio is really pretty conservative, 60% is in fixed income, essentially assets, and the other 40% is in stocks and bonds. But our goal, and we have a responsibility to protect the principal as much as possible,
Right.
while we still want the money to grow. So on $60,000, if it was in there for the whole year, stop ringing. Thank you. On $60,000, you would have made last year about Well, on 30,000, you would have made about $600.